Okay everyone, we're here in the preparation area with all of our ingredients, and we're here with Jenny, the little owner of Yixingren, the hostel, and it's run by her and her family. So in the next video, she will be taking us on a small tour of the entire place, so stay tuned for that. For now, we'll be introducing all of the ingredients that we will be using to make our custard tart. So first off, right here we have plain flour, 225 grams of plain flour, 1 egg, 50 grams of powdered sugar. We are using granulated golden sugar. Powdered sugar is better, but we only have golden sugar on our hands, so that works as well to just give it a little bit of sweetness. And then also 150 grams of butter. It's gonna give the crust oily taste, and it's going to be easier to take out of the entire tin. And then a pinch of salt to neutralize the taste of the sugar. So that's the entire ingredients of the crust. And then next we have our custard filling. So what we will be using is 350 milliliters of heavy cream, 8 entire egg yolks, no egg whites, because the fat and protein contents of the egg yolks is going to make the filling more silky and smooth to the taste, and the egg whites is going to make it more dry but more firm as well, so it depends on what kind of a taste you're going for. And then also 100 grams of granulated sugar or powdered sugar, depending on what you have on your hands. And then last but not least, 100 milliliters of milk. So next we're going to assemble all of the ingredients and show you guys how to bake the entire custard tart. I'll see you guys later. Okay, so first you want to take your butter and your flour, and you want to, if it's very hard, cut it into chunks, but because it's partly melted already, you can just pour it inside directly. So pour it into the flour, and then you want to incorporate the butter and the flour together with your hands. So just go inside and pinch it, give it a little massage, and incorporate all of the flour with the butter. And after you're done, it's going to resemble something like big breadcrumbs and some very soft dough. Okay, so after you guys are done incorporating the butter into the flour, you want to add your sugar and your salt, and then mix it in together, just like so. And then give it another massage to incorporate all of the sugar into the butter and flour. And then after you are done with that, you want to make a well inside of the mixture. So like make a small hole inside the mixture for the egg to sit inside. Yep, just like that. And then after that, you want to pour your egg right inside, and then incorporate the entire thing to make your final tart crust.
I'm dying. Help me.
And you can just break that egg yolk. There we go. That is beautiful. Okay, now after you are done and it looks shiny on the outside, or if you think it's too soft or the butter is starting to melt, you can make it into a ball and transfer it back into your container, and then flour the surface just in case it sticks. And then after that, you can put it inside of the refrigerator to let the butter firm up again, and then later we can roll it out into the crust to put it inside the baking tin. So while that is firming up, we will be making our custard filling, so we will be showing you guys that next. And after you put the crust into the refrigerator, you want to take your heavy cream and your milk and pour them into a saucepan on low heat and begin mixing it in case it burns, or yeah, in case it burns. Okay, so after you have that inside, keep mixing it, and have inside of another container, you want to take your egg yolks and your sugar and pour them together. Get your sugar into the egg yolks and mix. Do not let it chunk up if you're using granulated sugar, but if you're using this kind more coarse sugar, it doesn't really matter because all of the coarse sugar are chunks on its own. So you want to finish mixing this and wait until the cream comes to a small boil. And then after that, you will take it off the heat and then add the yolks and sugar mixture inside of the cream. Okay, so after it starts to boil or start to bubble, just turn off the fire and then add your egg yolks inside and keep mixing. So incorporate the egg yolk sugar mixture into the cream. And if you have vanilla extract or vanilla pods, you can add them inside right now to add some flavor. But because we don't, you can also add some herbs or chocolate if you want to make chocolate flavored tarts. Let me just get the spoon inside, wash it up. And after you mix it, you'll see the mixture start to change color. A tiny tint of yellow. And you want to just keep mixing until you can't see the sugar grains. Okay, so after the crust is done chilling, you want to take it out and flour your work surface or the dough so that it does not stick on top of it. And then you want to, if you are using a 12-inch tin pan, which is usually what this serving is served for, then you can use the entire piece of dough and roll it out to around 0.3 to 0.5 centimeters thick. But if you want to have smaller pies, then you want to use some small containers, and you're going to have to measure out how much dough you need to have for each one of them, and then to measure how much of dough in total that you're going to need. So after you roll it out like this, like a pizza crust, take your container and gently lay it out on top and gently peel up the sides so that the middle will fall inside. Don't push the middle because you might break the insides because it's very soft. If you guys know, it's a very, very high percentage of butter, so it's very fragile. And then after you press it into the container, you can take your spatula or your knife or anything that can peel off the sides, or even you can use your hand to push the sides off, depending on how beautiful of an end result you would like. And then after that, after the entire thing is done, you can send it into a preheated oven of 180 degrees. And how you will do that, we'll show you guys later. And make sure you have something heavy, like baking beans with baking parchment inside of it, so you can prevent it from bubbling up during the baking process. So after you are done filling all of the containers with your crust, you can take preferably baking parchment, but because we only have tin foil, so we can use that as well. Because tin foil is harder, so you want to take the same kind of container and make it the shape of the container first, and then later you can transfer it there without having to worry about the tin foil hurting the crust. But if you're using baking parchment, you would want to first crumple it up like you would crumple paper, so it's easier to shape. And then after that, you want to put it into the container with the crust inside of it. And then if you have preferably baking beans, pour it inside of your tin foil or baking parchment. If you don't, you can use rice as well, or stones or pebbles. But if you're going to use that, make sure to wash them clean, or use a container that can keep in all of the dust and gravel. So this is how you're going to do it to press the crust down to prevent it from rising up during the baking process. Okay, so after they have been done baking for 180 degrees for 20 minutes, or until the crust is a tiny bit golden brown, you can take your baking beans or rice out of the crust and then take your egg wash. The yolks will be better because it's going to be more golden brownish, but because it's on the inside, the whites will be okay too. Because what we're doing is we're just going to have a layer of the egg inside, and we're going to take it to bake. After it's baked and well done, it's going to create a waterproof surface on the inside, so that our custard filling won't soak into the crust and make it soggy. Okay, so after the egg whites or egg yolks, depending on what you're using, after they have been baked and they're well done, you can take them out and you only need 5 minutes, but because our insides were still a little bit raw, we used a longer period of time, so that's why you guys can see the sides of it is kind of overburnt, and you can see there are little specks of black dots. That is because of our granulated sugar isn't caster sugar, so it's not that fine. That's why when we bake it, it still has the sugar grains, so that's why some part of it is blacker than the others. So after you take it out, you can pour in your custard fillings and just pour it around almost full, and then just evenly distribute them on inside of all of your crusts. And when you're doing this, you want to preferably do it as close to as your oven as you can, or else when you take it to your oven, it might get a little bit shaky and maybe spill some over. And also, as you guys can see, that is why you want to use the baking beans for as long as a period as possible, and preferably after it's hardened, or else something like this will happen because it's gonna expand when you're baking it, and if you don't have something heavy to weigh it down, it's gonna pop up like that. And after you put in all of your custard fillings, you want to put it inside for 130 degrees for around 30 to 40 minutes, or until it is firm on the top but still jiggly to when you turn it. Okay, so we just got the tarts outside of the oven, and you can see that it's still bubbling from the side. So now what you want to do is you want to let it cool down to room temperature, or preferably somewhere close to that, so that the custard can firm up so that it's easier to cut. Or if you have even more time, you can just leave it in the refrigerator, but for this step you need to be patient. So don't rush around to try to cut it open, because it's still going to be very soft and very hot. Okay guys, so we have all of the tarts out of the oven. We have one here, and Jenny is going to take it out, cut it open, and we're going to take a taste test to see how successful we have done it this time.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go. The inside looks pretty.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah, the top of it tastes like the caramel sugar, like, you know, the sugar melting on top and making a glaze on top. So now let's cut small pieces and take some taste tests. Okay, so you know, tarts aren't the best things to cut with the chef knives. Okay, so we have 2 pieces. One for you, one for me. Cheers. Okay. Oh, that is pretty sweet. I like it. First impressions, it's very tender, and the crust is pretty crunchy.
It was at this moment he knew. He fucked up.
So I think the custard is more on the sweet side, so if you don't like too sweet, you can have less, maybe like 50 grams, somewhere around that. And Jenny seems to be enjoying it. Is it good?
Hot.
It's hot, yeah. It's still, the insides is still quite hot because we left it out to cool for like barely 10 minutes, so yeah. You know, Kentucky, finger looking good. So that brings us to an end to this video. She's still enjoying it. And if you guys made it, comment down below how you guys think of it. Was it good? Did you guys succeed? And if you can, take pictures of it, post it on social media, and don't forget to hashtag my YouTube channel because I taught you this. So, bon appetit. I'll see you guys next time.
Bye bye.
I'll see you guys later.